Welcome back to Real Community Talks, where we meet with micro-level influencers doing macro-level things. I'm your host, Matt DeSilva, and on today's episode, we have the CEO of Patriarch Supply on the show, my guy, Phil Nguyen today. Phil, thanks for coming out today.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for this opportunity to be on the show.
So for those two-ways people that may not know who you are, Phil is currently, like I said, the CEO of the popular clothing brand Patriarch Supply, which has been reaching a bunch of people throughout the GTA and beyond. He's a fitness coach and personal trainer, and he's worked out of multiple gyms across the city, contracted to work with a bunch of people, do like a lot of training, classes, all that kind of stuff. Yep. And among many other things, he's a social media influencer, a businessman, a fitness and health enthusiast, and a humanitarian, which we'll kind of talk about a little later. Cool. But before we get into this, I said businessman because you say you don't like the word entrepreneur. So why is that?
Good question. I think that word entrepreneur these days, it's used out of context, or it's used to kind of put you at the status where you feel like you're doing something. And what I mean is, like, on Instagram or social media, you'll see a lot of people put entrepreneur on their bio, and it's like, okay, cool, but what are you doing with it? It's like it's just a status that people feel to make them feel good or to make them feel better about what they're doing. But it's like, are you really, impacting? Yeah. Are you really providing a service or a product?
So true.
Are you really, doing something that generates money? Are you focusing on a goal of producing something or pushing something out? And I think people just utilize that word entrepreneur just to kind of show people that I'm doing my own thing.
It's so true. It's kind of like a sexy way of sounding like you actually have something going on. And like I think I'm not that I'm blaming him, but I feel like Gary Vee has done a great job of putting entrepreneurs on the map and respect for the grind. Yeah. But then it's like people want the Gary Vee life, but they don't want to develop like the Matt or the Phil businessman entrepreneur side, right?
And like knowing Gary Vee, like his storyline and what he's been through over like 2 decades, it's been like nonstop grind and work. But you don't see that, you don't hear about.
It's not overnight.
Exactly.
So true.
And people just love to use that word. I'm an entrepreneur. It's like, what are you doing? Are you impacting the world? Are you providing a service or stuff like that?
Facts. I like that. Yeah. So with that, why don't we segue into what's your origin story? So who is Phil Nguyen and where are you from?
Phil Nguyen. I'm Vietnamese, coming from a background of both my parents. Born and raised in Regent Park.
Nice.
And then I moved to Jane and Finch. From Jane and Finch, we moved to Scarborough, which was at Mornell Court.
Wow. And you moved through all those hoods. That's crazy.
Yeah, man. So now I'm currently living in Malvern, and my passion for Toronto has grown so much over the years, just because I've been living in these, I guess you can say, lower income communities where I've seen struggle. I've seen parents, not even my parents, other parents, friends of my struggle and go through everything. So that's my passion of, really trying to do something to impact Toronto as a city, or just be a voice where someone can hear and be inspired or motivated.
Wow, that's awesome. I think your neighborhood, your community, your environment has a huge factor on what your pursuit or your passion is.
Oh yes, for sure.
Like for me, like everyone knows, like I put Malton on the map. Like I love this community. It is historically a lower income area, newcomers and all that kind of stuff. Yep. But I'm glad because one, there's a sense of urgency around me that I can't just sit around because people need help. But two, it's like you're also in a place where it's nice to feel needed, but it's also nice to be able to pour back into the place that's poured into you.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think that one question you kind of asked me before this interview was like, what inspires you or what keeps you grinding? And I think that focus is to kind of give back to the community.
Yeah.
And I started as a personal trainer, a fitness coach in Markham. Markham is, a better income city than Scarborough, you can say.
True.
And with that being said, when I was in Markham, I was just like, damn, I kind of need to go back to Scarborough and help this community. And because I've been living in Scarborough for more than a decade, it's like, okay, I've learned how to become a trainer. Let's go back to Scarborough and let's impact or help some people in my community. And that's what I wanted to do, was now branch off to different cities and Markham and Scarborough to become trainer.
Wow, and you have that juxtaposition where you help sometimes, and this is what I actually I believe in is a lot of people sensationalize just helping the poor or the needy.
Yeah.
But who's to say that someone who's rich isn't going through like emotional stress?
Oh yeah,
or
for sure.
going through like a life crisis, that fitness can help them through that.
Oh yeah,
and it's like you have to find that balance. I'm not saying that you always have to find a niche, but that's cool. Like it's not neglecting people because of their status. Like neglecting people because they're poor is just as bad as neglecting them as if they were rich, right? But I appreciate that. That's dope. I rate you for
thanks.
that. So in your prelim, you mentioned that you went to York for kinesiology, but you decided to drop out to pursue your vision.
Yeah.
So talk about like in those few weeks leading up to when you made the decision of dropping out, what was going through your head?
Oh, crazy. The thought of dropping out popped in my mind multiple times, and it was like, you know, as a child of a family from, you know, that came from nothing or a third world country back in the days. It was like the only reason why my parents came here, or any parents come here, is to kind of provide the opportunity that maybe one day they'll have a family, and that and those kids will go to school and be given that opportunity that they never had back in the days. And I think that I was always passionate in fitness and health, and it came about when my boy, he asked me, "Hey, do you want to become a personal trainer?" And this was my first year of York University for kin. I was so nervous. I was like, damn, bro, coming from Scarborough, I don't really talk to people. I'm kind of introverted. Yeah. And it kind of made me nervous. And then he was pressing it on me. And he's like, yo, I'm going to let my boss know. Let me know. And then I was like, in my mind, I was like, say yes now and learn it after. And that's what I did. And from there, it was like, okay, now I've learned these skill sets of becoming a personal trainer. My ultimate goal is to open a gym one day.
Wow.
Yeah. That was a goal from like 18, 19 years old, you know? So with that being said, it was like I was in kin, I was learning all these things, but I didn't believe in the curriculum of how they were teaching.
So true.
And I just thought it was weird when, you know, there was a class, I think it was physiology, and the class average was like a 50 something after a midterm. And everyone's just like, oh shoot, like we did bad and stuff. Yeah. And then after, the professor was just like, all right, you guys got to study harder. What we're going to do is just going to bell curve your mark to whatever percentage. Yeah. And you guys hope to get, and I looked at it like, you make a student pay $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 to learn. Yeah. And to get good grades. You want them to get good grades. But then you bell curving the mark, how does that teach us?
So true.
Anything. It just teaches us that you'll get by for now, but then the real obstacle will come later on. And how do you prepare for that if you're just gonna bell curve my mark? So and true. I didn't. Yeah. And that kind of ticked me off, because it's like, you guys don't really care about what we're trying to do. It's just, you know, and that's how we went on.
Yeah, they're just trying to meet like departmental goals. Yeah. You know, like side note, I think people think I get guests or I'm just an education hater, but it's like, I don't pick you guys because I've known, like, I didn't know that you dropped out until like I read your prelim. Yeah. But I'm not picking guests intentionally to like bash on education. But it's so crazy because the majority of these guests that have been here have talked about a bad educational experience. Yeah. And the guest that's actually this week, Ryan Gertrude, he's running for trustee for thing. It's like, man, and you said it right. You're like, why am I going to go to somewhere, go to a program where the curriculum is flawed? And it's like, that's the thing is, sometimes I like those teachers who go outside the curriculum or go beyond it, because they really care about their work. But then it's like, I get it. You've been in that field. Maybe you've been a teacher for 20 years. And sometimes a curriculum can help you just do the bare minimum. But I'm like, man, like tests and memory retention, like learning is so much more beyond that. And exactly. Like, yo, this is real life. Like, this is not just me saying it. People have experienced it. And I rate you for coming to that, taking that risk and coming to that decision, because it's not an easy one. It's not an easy one. But you kind of touched on something that I kind of want to ask you is, as a youth worker in this community, it's South Asian, East Indian, all that kind of stuff. And a lot of the parents, they pride themselves on their kids having education. Like, education is the thing that you come to Canada for. So do you feel like going that path, like you let your parents down? Because a lot of kids would feel like in this area they'd be doing that.
Do I feel like I let my parents down? Yeah, for sure. I thought I was going to let them down. How hard they worked, and all they preach is school, get a good job, get a good education. But to me, it was like, damn, at a certain time of my life, I was so negative. I was every time I woke up, I was negative. And the only place I found joy was when I was going to teach fitness
Wow.
classes.
That's
Like
powerful.
my life, my mentality literally changed.
Mm.
Like every time I woke up, it's like, shoot, I gotta go to school.
Yeah.
Shoot, this and that. But then it's like, oh, now I gotta teach classes. I'm so
Mm.
fired up. I'm so amped.
Wow.
And I was in that state for like, 6, 7, 8, 9 months, and I was just trying to figure out, why do I feel these type of emotions
Mm.
for certain things in my life.
Yeah.
And I just thought to myself, this makes me happy. This doesn't make me happy. Why? Why do I find joy in this? Why do I not find joy in this? So I took that risk, and there was a big conversation. Obviously, I had to talk to my parents. I want to drop out. And they obviously didn't want me to.
Yeah.
But it came to realization, like, I'm not happy right now. You know what? I'm still young. I don't even know who I am. I want to learn to become who I want to become.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take this risk to kind of drop out and make this decision. And what really helped me was my cousin. Ironically, he's a international student from Vietnam.
Wow.
And he came here for education, a better education. And during the time when I was thinking of dropping out and had no one to kind of support me on that, I called him up. I'm like, hey, I want to drop out.
Yeah.
This is kind of weird to talk to you about because your parents worked so hard for you to for them to bring you over here.
Yeah.
It's like, expensive to become an international
So
student.
true.
So it was like ironic in my mind. I'm like, I'm not trying to disrespect you and talk to you about I don't want to go to school, because I'm so privileged here in North America or even Toronto to even be able to get an education.
Yeah.
So talking to him about it, he understood everything. He understood everything, and he was that last straw that was like, you know what, do it. Take 2 years off, do it. See where you are in 2 years. I'll talk to your parents. And then that kind of gave me a little bit more belief in myself.
Wow.
Like, okay, cool. Thanks for supporting that idea.
Yeah.
And, I talked to him a couple months ago when he came and visited me, and he was just, proud of where I went to, so that was a very big support and motivation for me to kind of solidify that thought of, okay, let's drop on, let's do something.
Yeah. That's always commendable and powerful when someone can choose a pathway that's non-traditional or non-conventional, but you're doing it for you. Like at the end of the day, you could sit in that class and get a degree like everyone, but you're doing something that's unique and unconventional and unheard of. But you're also like, it's not about just doing something for the sake of a title. Like, you needed to do something where it was beyond that. It was like you weren't feeling good. Like, you needed to do something that you felt purpose in, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And
exactly.
At the end of the day, a lot of kids are becoming doctors and lawyers for the sake of their parents. And we love our parents, like, you know, but at the end of the day, when you're sitting in your house and you put your key in your own door and you have to live with the choices you made, you have to be like, okay, I chose that. Ultimately, I took the guidance, and parents will always try. They do it out of love. Like, they want to see you succeed. Yeah. But I think the culture is shifting to success doesn't always look like a diploma on the wall. Success doesn't always look like, 6 figures or a Lamborghini or, the big house in Markham. But success can look like you feeling happy and feeling in purpose in what you love. Exactly. And at the end of the day, like, even Bilal said that, but he's like, but success can be that if you're an entrepreneur or an Instagrammer. Like, you can get to a place where you are consistent. It's just people have to start realizing that that's where the tide's turning. It's not always, a 9-to-5 job. It's, man, I as an entrepreneur, you're probably working more hours than a 9-to-5. Yeah. You're all about your business, right?
Yeah. And I think it's tough being an entrepreneur because there's days where you're so fired to do work. There's days where you're like, damn, I don't want to do any work. Yeah. And that balance is like a gift and a curse. Like, it's tough to be by yourself and create these own thoughts and ideas and initiate them and execute them. And sometimes you don't even know if you're doing it right. You don't even know if you're taking the right path. Yeah. And I think going back to purpose and stuff like that, I think with me was at a young age, I'm thankful and I'm so blessed to figure out my purpose at a young age. I don't think a lot of people do. So true. And it's tough because it's like you live in this world where you see so much things where you don't know if you can do it or, should I take this risk to do it? Yeah. And I think for me, it was just coming down to how do you give back to this world? I think the focus of being on earth is to give back to people. I like that. And it's like, okay, doctors, they give back by helping people with illnesses. Farmers, they help by harvesting fruits and vegetables so we can be nourished.
Wow.
Mechanics, they fix cars so we can be safe on the roads. Construction workers, they build houses and shelters so we can live in.
Wow.
And that's like their purpose of giving back to the community. You get what I'm saying?
And that's so true. And I guess even refining what I just said recently is like, I'm not saying like if you want to be a doctor, be a doctor. Like if you love that, but it's like, I guess finding what you love doing, but also like everyone plays a role, like a community, like let's say your body, right? If one part of your body is broken, your whole body's gonna hurt, or like, I don't know how science works, but like the antibodies, like they help and they try to focus on that pain, right? So it's like, my body, without my hand, my hand's useful to my it's just as useful as my leg, just as useful as my nose. They all play a purpose. So if we're as a community one body, we all play the roles. Like the construction worker builds the roads. That's a good
way to put it. Yeah, for sure.
Like the construction worker builds the roads for the person, the mechanic who fixes the cars to get to the job, to heal the people as a doctor. Gotcha. I love that. That's huge. You kind of touched on the fact of being a business owner and how it could be stressful, and you've talked about we've talked about burnout. And how do you deal with burnout as a business owner? Like, I know sometimes you can have rapid periods of growth and then it's just like, boom, it flatlines. Or having two businesses as a fitness person, managing two, like, how do you deal with that, bro?
I think it goes back to what motivates you, and back to passion and purpose. Like I said, like all those careers that I've just said, how they impact and give back to the community. So with me was like, okay, what do you love doing, Phil? I've been passionate and I was always active growing up. So fitness and health is my passion, I can say. And it's like, okay, cool. How do you give back now? So it's like, doctors give back by curing illnesses. Farmers, help by nourishing people with fruits and vegetables. How do I impact the world? Yeah. Well, I impact the world by helping people through fitness and health. And it's not just physically, it's more so, helping them mentally, self-esteem, confidence, believing in themselves. Something that I've endured growing up to build my confidence was through fitness. And I think that my passion with fitness and then my purpose of giving back played hand in hand. And that motivated me. That's what gave me that drive every morning. Like, I'm thankful to be alive and to see my clients in a couple hours and train them and build that relationship and trust and provide them those results, because that's when you impact someone's life.
Wow. Yeah. So in 2017, you left school, you started your your fitness pathway. Then in 2017 you started your clothing brand, Patriarch Supply. So why did you just decide to start that, and what purpose does it serve for you?
Long story, but it all came about when my brother, he's the designer of Patriarch Supply.
Okay.
So shout out to my brother Benny. He's one of the creative guys I've known. Not because he's my brother, but I just know he has that, potential, or he can draw and stuff like that. So I told him, hey, I wanted to create a brand. I don't know what it was 2 years ago. I said that, hey, Benny, I want to create a brand. And I kind of thought out a slogan for myself. And shout out to my boy Nguyen for helping me out with this. We were chilling one day and I was like, hey, I'd like to use my name as a brand somehow. He's like, all right, cool. And I was just like, okay, how do I do this? So PHIL, push hard in life, was kind of a slogan my boy thought, and I'm like, dope, that's crazy. And that kind of signifies who I am, because I don't like quitting, or I just always want to push, right? And that's the focus of pushing hard in life, is to never give up. And so with that being said, it was like, hey, Benny, I want to open a gym one day. He's like, okay, cool. I'm like, hey, can you create some designs for like a logo or something to kind of, if I ever started just a gym, I'll utilize this. So he was sketching, drawing me all these designs and showing me them. And I'm like, oh, these are dope. These are crazy. These are nice. But you're going to click. You're going to click soon. And you're going to find that boom, that's going to work. So he kept on drawing. And then he came up with this idea and he showed me this design, which is just different languages in, say, Toronto. And I was so curious. I was like, that's crazy. What is this? What does that stand for? He's like, well, all these languages translates to live and breathe. So I'm like, this is dope. He's like, well, I remember that you said as a personal trainer, you need to build your tribe or community of clienteles.
Yeah.
So if you ever do open a gym, they'll follow you.
Wow.
Right? And so I told them that that's how I wanted to, and that's the reason why I came back to Scarborough, was to kind of grow my community again.
Wow.
Right. And so for me to come back and then people know that I'm a personal trainer in Scarborough, it's like, okay, cool. Now they can come and ask me if they can train and stuff, and I'll break down goals for them and stuff like that. So my brother understood the concept of me trying to build a clientele or a tribe, as you can say, as a city or a community. And he's like, okay, this is kind of off your idea of becoming a trainer, but the idea is to kind of cultivate the city through multicultural.
Wow.
And that's why our shirts have multi-languages. So it was never a thought of, let's open a clothing line.
Yeah.
It was more so, if I were to ever open a gym, I would have an athleisure line. And that would kind of play into that path of, fitness and fashion one day in the future.
Wow.
But then he showed me these ideas and I'm like, I'm 100% in. Let's go for it.
Yeah.
And, it steered in the direction of, going to Patriarch Supply and now focusing on community, not just fashion, but how can we impact or help this community of multicultural and diversity here in Toronto?
Wow.
Right?
This guy is so smart. Like, I feel like the best things, like in terms of pursuit and purpose, is they come unnaturally. Like, you weren't planning to start a clothing brand, but that's so smart. If your goal is to build your gym and to build a tribe and to build a community around you so that you can, continue to further your fitness goals. Yeah. What better way to do that than branding yourself and through a clothing brand? I think that's so smart. So I rate you for that.
Not only me, just my brother too.
Yeah,
I think he should get a lot of credit for the design and time he puts into it, because the design really speaks for itself. And I'm just a dude that tries to push it as much as I can.
So one thing I really respect about your business, and you were talking about, you kind of touched on giving back to your community, but for those of you who don't know Patriarch Supply, they donate to the newcomers program at St. Stephen's Community House in Kensington Market.
Yes.
And the proceeds help with like English classes, settlement services, and also providing immigrants with employee training. I think it's $1 of every sale, right?
Yes.
That is so dope.
Yeah. So like this idea of, okay, starting a clothing line, a local brand in Toronto, it's so saturated. A lot of people, start up local brands due to trends or what's next. Like, when Toronto was blowing up with We the North, you see a lot of local brands that, try to come out with Raptors gears or Raptors designs or even Blue Jays and stuff like that. But our focus was like, okay, cool. Toronto it's a huge community. It's a huge group of people. And within that group of people, there's so much small pockets of diversity that people don't really get to understand. And that's what I'm talking about, is multicultural. And I think Toronto is such a beautiful city due to that diversity of different race and ethnicity and what we do and how open we are as a community or a city to, show off who we are, right?
Yeah. I think that's important because like you were talking about, being a local brand is a lot of people outsource, and I get it for costs and for all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But the fact that like you look at a tag and it says, made in India, made in China, and like no disrespect, but it's like it's so much more. One, it's premium, and two, it's nice to know that it's made by people who are talented here. Yeah. And that we don't just have to go get something for cheap, but and then I was talking about this with Sheldon from Flyby. It's like people will pay for quality product if they believe in your brand, if they believe in, like you said, your tribe, right? And I'll buy from a company and I'll pay like 2 times more, but if I believe in like people and my friends, like my boy Nguyen, who was on the episode, like I will buy every single one of his books. Yeah. All right. I don't have to know what it's about before, but I will buy because I support him. Right. Same thing as people will probably support you, or they'll support Patriarch because they know maybe they've trained with you before, or they know that you're giving back to newcomers. Yeah. So that's really dope, man. When I saw that, I was just like, geez, because like I love giving back to people, and especially in this area that's newcomers is sometimes those services are kind of like the make or break whether they're going to do well in Canada. Like when they meet people in those community centers and those houses, like they're skilled people and successful people, but they need that help from someone in a place like that. So sure. I think that's dope. Like a lot of clothing lines, they plant a tree, like, and that's cool. but like, yo, you're investing into lives, and
Yeah.
that's even more commendable.
Yeah, and I guess the focus with Patriarch Supply when we started this about a year ago was our mission is to lead, unite, and strengthen diversity here in Toronto,
Wow.
and we do that through multi languages that
Yeah.
all translates to live and breathe.
Mm.
So you live in Toronto, you breathe Toronto,
Powerful.
and we also donate to St. Stephen's Community House, which
Wow.
is in Kensington Market, right?
Wow.
And we help with the newcomers program. So our focus is to help, immigrants with ESL classes, settlement services, also helping immigrants with employee training.
Yeah.
And we're also Canadian made. So the focus of our brand was to help our own economy,
Yeah.
support local businesses,
Wow.
and provide our proceeds back to the community.
Wow.
And I think that just builds that value of your brand, and
Yeah.
people really, and that's the whole focus. Like when I started, is we weren't Canadian made.
Mm.
And I had to think of a way, hey, we need to get into Canadian made as soon as possible.
Mm.
There are a lot of local brands that blew up quick. And
Yeah.
I wanted to be a little bit different. There wasn't a lot of brands that were Canadian made.
Mm.
And I understand why, expenses,
Yeah.
production fees and everything. But I look past that just to look at the value and the source of how to give back to someone or someone in need, right?
Yeah.
And this city is based off of diversity and immigrants, and maybe your parents, my parents are immigrants as well, right? Yeah. Refugees, even so. So it's like that is what makes Toronto Toronto, and there's no city in the world that's so diverse like us.
So true. Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah. Man, everything you do is so interconnected. It just makes me happy to see that, man. Like a lot of people don't think in that way, and like it's not just about making your money, it's about making an impact, right? So
yeah, for sure.
So this year you took your brand to the CNE. So talk about that experience and how it helped your business.
Wow, yo. CNE, it was dope. I never thought I would be a part of CNE as a vendor. Like for 2 decades of my life, I've been going as an attendee, hey mom, bring me here, going with friends, and so the idea was like how we all started was like, can I like backtrack to
100%.
all the way to the beginning? Okay, so 2017, July 2017, Canada's Day Long Weekend was when we launched Patriarch Supply.
Wow.
On Canada's Day Long Weekend. So we had a pop-up shop in Kensington Market.
Okay.
So we basically cleared out a store to sell ourselves as a pop-up, right? Great. It was a great turnout. A lot of support from friends and families. And from there, we got into a retail store, which was called Got Style.
Okay.
They have 2 locations, one at King and Bathurst and one at Distillery District.
Yeah.
And then we had when I launched it, it was literally like 2 days before where they contacted us and say, hey, do you guys do wholesale? I'm like, what is wholesale? yeah, we do wholesale. So I was like, yeah, okay, cool. And then from there, we had a meeting. They took a few of our shirts, and then they sold out, and then they took more and more and more. And then the founder of Got Style, she's like, hey, I would like you guys to be a part of the Christmas market. So I'm like, okay, cool.
Oh, wow.
And then I'm like, I need to get into Canadian made as well. That would just be the icing on the cake. So so that's what happened around September, October 2017. And then we got into Christmas market and everything. And then coming into 2018, I had to figure out ways to kind of brand ourselves, right? And I think when we launched this brand, it was like, okay, let's sell as many shirts as we can.
Yeah.
And it was going great, but then my focus was there's no retention, there's no customers coming back. Okay, so let's change my mentality, let's change my mindset a little bit. Let's focus on brand awareness this year.
Yeah.
For 2018, brand awareness and exposure. So what happened was we got into an event, the Osgood Fashion Show.
Yeah.
It was a part of York, like
that's
a
huge.
student committee or something like that, and we were part of that. So that was great. And then we were at an event called the Toronto Urban Fashion Event, which is just local brands you're trying to come up. And then we were part of the Bubble Tea Festival.
Yeah.
And then we had our 1-year anniversary pop-up shop. We also did a collaboration with Absolute Vodka.
Okay. Oh, really?
Yeah. So they contacted me. It was my boy. He was at a cocktail competition.
Yeah.
He was wearing one of my sweaters.
Oh, shoot.
And a girl came up to him at the end of the night and was like, what brand is that? Da, da, da. So he told her about it. Next day she hit us up and was like, hey, I'm the brand ambassador of Absolute Vodka in Ontario. Would you guys like to do a collaboration and things like that? So I'm like, yo, this is real. This is real. And then we formulated ideas, and we actually did a collaboration project for Pride Week. So we created these tank tops with that says Toronto, and then in the middle it said Equal Love. It was in rainbow. We just gave it out to the parade, right? So that was a great turnout. And then the focus was all these events were, in my mindset was, okay, we gotta get to these events for brand awareness and exposure, but also practice for CNE. And CNE was like my big project that I needed to complete. And with that being said, it took me a while to apply for it, get everything confirmed, and then getting my production, getting my inventory, finding staff, picking out staff, working hours, managing everything. And I had a great team to kind of support me with that, and my friends that I believed and trust in, and I looked at it like, how can I learn, and what skill can I learn from you guys? Because I'm not the smartest guy ever. So it's like, I need to handpick people that I believe I can benefit from mentally or skillfully. And so I handpicked these people. And then with CNE, it was like, damn, this is the ultimate test of who I can be to date. And the reason I say that is because it was so much, it wasn't hard, but it was very challenging. Dealing with inventory, setting it up, getting all these small things done, business cards, banners, hours, paying your employees, payroll, making sure, certain days of the week you have a certain amount of employees to work because there may be traffic or maybe not traffic. So all these played into, a role of, can I do this? Can I do this? And with that being said is, can I keep my composure as a leader? While doing all these things. And I think that was the ultimate test I wanted to take away from that was, am I able to be that leader for my team and not get on them for certain things? Because at the end of the day, this is my idea, this is my passion, this is my brand. I need to lead a way for them to see what I'm trying to do. And I think that was a challenge, was being a leader and not a boss. I think, with me, I always told myself, I'm a boss of myself. You tell yourself what to do, just like you doing these podcasts and everything. You're, bars. But like, that's how I felt. Like, why do people go to work and hate their boss? It's like, you take orders from your boss. You shouldn't take orders from anyone else but yourself. Right. And my objective was, I'm a boss of myself. I have all these ideas. I need to go execute them. And along the way, I'm trying to create leaders, to do their own things, to kind of build skill sets that they never had or an opportunity they never had, so they can learn from it and then benefit later on down the road. So my objective was always to to be a leader, and I think I learned that from my mentor growing up as well.
It's amazing.
And that's how it kind of went out with CNE. And it was a great turnout.
It reminds me, like everything you just said reminds me of what Steve Jobs says. He says, we don't hire people to tell them what to do. We hire people to tell us what to do. And Bilal even said that too. He's like, when I'm hiring people for a production, I want to hire people that are better than me. And exactly what you said is, it's not to say that you're doing it in a selfish way, but like, I want to, in that moment, why am I just going to be like, the head honcho and just like tell people what to do? Like, I'm superior to you. Like you have a skill set in maybe marketing that I need to learn. Videography, like teach me so I can do it myself. For sure. That's so powerful.
And that's the whole point was like, I dropped out of school. Like, like what skills do I have, or what education of marketing or managing or finance do I have? Like I need to learn from someone. And my boy was able to help me with a lot of the financial part and everything like that. And I was more so like controlled and composed of, that forefront type of responsibility and everything like that. So
a lot of people ask me why, how did I start this podcast? Like you were asking me before. And I say a few things. Like this is my recent saying is, a few things raised me: God, my parents, and YouTube and Google. Because people will say like, oh, well, how do you start a podcast? Like, if you want to start a podcast, you'll figure it out.
You
Like
figure it out.
there's no formula. I mean, there's good things that you can put into place, but I learned all this stuff from Googling. Like make no mistake, I watched podcasts, but I taught myself from watching other people do it. And I think it's good that you said you had a mentor and you put yourself in the presence of people who had an impact on you.
Yes.
Like I watched videos. I went online. It's like how to start a podcast, basic equipment setup, how to do a podcast on a budget, how to upload to a website, you know, how to have better SEO on YouTube. Like I showed myself all these things and I went to people. So like if you want to start something, like if you want to get a brand you know, partnership with Absolute Vodka, you guys put yourself in the presence of people who can make that happen.
For sure.
You executed events in Kensington before you were able to execute an event at CNE.
Exactly.
If you want it, you're going to make it happen. You're going to put yourself there. Like people think like, oh, I want to get this one formula from this one person, or like a photographer, like just let me know your settings so then I could do it too. Nah. You have to like put yourself there, try it yourself, put in the groundwork. And I think you've been able to do that, which is
appreciate
powerful.
it. And I think that's what it is. Like me, I feel like as a person, I learn best through experiences. I learn best through experiences.
So true.
And I'm also, I guess, a kinesthetic learner. Someone that has to be engaged or do something rather than sitting down and, you know, reading and looking at lecture slides or stuff like that.
Yeah.
So with that being said, is like I needed to figure everything out, like from the beginning with all this idea what my brother showed me, like this is, you know, Japanese live and breathe, and it's just where I'm like, okay, so how do we put that on a shirt? Do we make our own shirts? Like like how does this work? And we're just like questioning, researching everything. It's like, okay, cool. You find a supplier that provides shirts, you know, printed on, and I never knew that process. I thought you would have to make your own garments and stuff like that. I'm at a position where I'm able to do that now.
Wow.
But it's not like something I want to focus on because there's so much more to continue to grow. That I don't want to expand too quick or launch something too fast and put in that time and investment or even money as well. That's something that hasn't, you know, don't run too fast, I guess you can say as well, right? And it's just like baby steps and learn along the way and just understand what your niche is and what your demographic is and who you're trying to target. But a lot of people come up and like, hey, would you come up with new stuff? Would you customize this and that? It's like, yeah, I can do it, but it's just very tough. And you don't see the behind the work, behind the you know, the scenes, and it's just nonstop grind. You know? So
actually, you kind of touched on something I wanted to ask you. Is for me, like I was talking about, I don't just want to do interviews. There's plans that I have for this show that I'm not ready to execute on, but I'm still thinking of, right? So not to give away any like big plans or details, but what are some areas as a business owner that you plan to improve on or grow in? Maybe down the road or in the next few years, like what are some things that you're trying to target? All right, I've been successful at the CNE. And you could say that you could answer nothing, but I'm just saying, like, is there anything that you'd want to improve on?
You know what it is like with let's talk about Patriarch Supply. With that business, it's I wanted to focus on just a certain age group because you know people are really into the trends. And then I focused on we're Canadian made, and then we're connecting through multicultural and everything. And then my focus is let's try to target to females more because when females wear clothes, guys follow.
So
and stuff
true.
Like, right? So it's like,
true.
Okay, cool. Let's try to focus on females and stuff like that. And now it's like after CNE, I've seen so much potential, and my sense of direction was more clear, and it was just more so, okay, cool. This can be a very like a never-ending growth where now I can tailor and target to toddlers, and that's more impactful because nowadays there's a lot of young families that like to dress up their kids and you know be trendy with it.
Yeah, like as a unit.
Yeah, as a unit. So more so now moving forward is like, okay, let's do more family oriented goals or executions to kind of not just target, you know, a certain age group or demographic, like, you know, the urban apparel, but more so let's now populate it to, you know, kids, babies, toddlers now, you know, families to expanding. So it's just like example, like if that toddler had a grandparent and seen that writing, it's just, and they're from like back home, it's just like, you know, you can kind of resonate and, you know, connect with that. Even though we live in a, a city now that is so diverse in culture that you want to kind of continue to fulfill that ethnicity. Yeah.
Man, is everything that you do so like deep and powerful? Like,
Yo.
I'm thinking about it, is like, yo, like this guy, like it's not even like don't get me wrong, like you executed on some things, but it's like the way that I think something unique about you is that when you do things, it's out of authenticity and being genuine, and I think that like shows throughout your work ethic and even the product that you generate.
Yeah, appreciate it.
But one of your favorite quotes is "Step outside of your comfort zone, and your comfort zone expands."
Yes.
So, what does that mean to you personally?
That means everything to me. I think growing up, just a scrawny Asian dude in Scarborough, was not really bullied, but like I was always, looked past upon, right? So, like I always want to play sports, never get picked up, or always the last guy to get picked up growing up. So it's just. I always had that fire or, to kind of show myself and like what I'm capable of doing.
Yeah.
And I think that all resonates to push hard in life and always exceed things. And, how I keep it genuine is just always being real. I think having real conversations or genuine conversations. I think at CNE, with my vendor being there, and our objective is to sell T-shirts, right? It's to sell our products. And anyone can do that, right? Yeah. And I told my team, like, don't look at it like you're selling something, because people are at CNE willing to buy stuff. Yeah. That's the whole point of CNE. To purchase stuff, rides, tickets, games, whatever. So get that out of your mind. You should focus on, once again, we're at CNE for what? Brand awareness, exposure, selling products, and then that's what we're trying to do. So focus on having real, genuine conversations where people can connect with. Yeah. What does Toronto mean to you, or do you understand why this is that, and or what this translates to? Yeah. And it's the focus to, I don't need to be a certain race, or I like wearing Arabic all the time, right? But I'm not Muslim. Yeah, yeah. But it doesn't mean that you have to be Muslim to wear something that's Arabic. It's a conversation sparker. Yeah. And that's what I wanted to become, like, have real, genuine conversations by initiating through what? Multicultural and what makes us Toronto. Yeah. Like there was that guy you were saying on the bus or something, or the other day, that was like, you shouldn't be wearing that Arabic writing. Yeah, it was weird. Like I was working out and I finished a workout and he was like, that's Arabic, you shouldn't be wearing that. And I'm just looking at him like, why? Yeah. Like, I didn't want to entertain him. I was just like, okay, thanks, appreciate that. But it was just in my mind, like, how can you be so ignorant in a city that has been grown off of and thriving off of diversity? Yeah. How can you be so ignorant and closed-minded that? Yeah. Because I'm Asian, I'm not allowed to wear.
But there's Asian Muslims, like he's just ignorant.
Yeah, he's just super ignorant. So seeing that, I was just like, damn, this is where we need to continue to impact this world, because there's so many people that are like still like naive. Yeah. And it was just no, you can't do that. Like, you can't be thinking like that.
Yeah. True. So if you could go back in time, what would you tell grade 9 Phil just about to enter high school? If you can warn him or give him a word of advice, what would you say?
Damn, stay away from the wrong people. I think I've learned through hanging around with the wrong crowd and everything growing up. Yeah. But I think it was just stay around with the wrong people, because those people don't really benefit you in any way.
They don't build you.
And you may be in certain situations where you'll be in trouble. And that's what I would tell myself to make. I guess you're growing up around 14, but try to make better decisions.
Yeah, it's true. It's like the wrong people can really have an impact on you. Like your community is just as much as those around you, and they have influence, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So we've reached that point in the episode where it's rapid fire. So the first thing that comes to your head, you ready?
Yep. Okay, let's do this.
All right, we're gonna start with Pepsi or Coke.
Pepsi.
Advil or Tylenol.
Tylenol.
Apple or Android.
Apple, for sure.
Toronto or Saga.
Toronto.
Favorite fitness coach / trainer of all time.
Favorite fitness coach / trainer of all times. It's a tough one still.
Or who's someone that you like to watch? First person that comes to your head.
Shoot. Bradley Martin.
Yeah.
Bradley Martin. Yeah.
That guy's a beast. Favorite business owner of all time. Someone that owns a business that you respect.
My mentor, Joe.
Oh, nice. Scarborough Town Center or Yorkdale Mall?
I'd say Yorkdale.
Your best bench press PR.
Best bench press PR, 255.
Jeez.
Yeah, something like that.
Favorite place you've traveled, local or international?
Favorite place I traveled? Vietnam, for
Vietnam.
sure. Yeah.
Favorite book you read or are reading?
I'm reading right now The One Thing by Keller Papasar. Yeah.
Favorite song right now that you're listening to?
That's a good one. Pretty Little Fears.
Who is one person that everyone should go right now and follow on Instagram or check them out?
Real community talks.
All right, so you had to put together your favorite outfit from kicks to fitted hat to accessories. Describe that fit.
For sure, shoes. From shoes, Jordan 1's my favorites. Black jeans.
Yeah.
Plain tees.
Yeah.
And just like a parka. Yeah.
Nice. Favorite clothing line besides yours?
Favorite clothing line besides mine? Nike.
Yeah. If you could say, there might be multiple, but the first person that comes to your head when I say most influential person on your life?
Mom.
If you go back to a single point of your life, like if you could revisit that day for one day, which day would that be?
Revisit one day?
Yeah.
That's a tough one. Probably when I was 18. Yeah, that's when my life started. Like,
yeah, it clicked. Yeah. If there was a movie on your life, what would the title read?
Push Hard in Life.
Push Hard in Life. And if they couldn't get you to act in your own movie, who would you want to play you? Doesn't have to be a lookalike, but an actor you respect.
Actor I respect?
Yeah.
Denzel Washington.
I don't know. I know. A lot of people said that.
Yeah.
If you could have coffee or your drink of choice with anyone from any point in history, dead or alive, who would it be? Just to pick their brain.
J. Cole, for sure.
J. Cole? Yeah. If you could be any animal, what would you be?
A lion.
A lion.
Yeah.
Name a song that when you hear it, it puts you in your feelings. Like you think about that girl from the sandbox in grade 2.
Man, there's a lot of songs, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Name some. Mine's is Marvin's Room by Drake.
Marvin's Room?
Yeah.
I'd say Power Trip by J. Cole and Miguel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm thinking about, my exes. No, I'm joking. If you were stranded on an island, what 2 things would you want with you?
What 2 things would I want with me? That's tough, man. These are rapid fire questions.
Yeah.
2 things I would want with me on an island. Can't be something materialistic.
They can. It's up to you.
Okay. I think... I can't even answer this, bro. I gotta answer this. On an island, eh?
Think about it. It's like, in like 5 minutes you're about to get stranded and like you're in your house. I don't know how this is even realistic, but like there's 2 things that you can grab. What are you grabbing?
I guess my phone and a book or a diary to write a journal.
Nice. What style did you rock that you look back now and wish you never rocked?
Extra large tees.
Extra large tees. I used to put the socks in my pants. Yeah. Oh, horrible.
No belt. Have your pants. Just
oh my god. Favorite food of all time?
Favorite food? Vietnamese food.
What job would you be horrible at?
Job I would be horrible at? Retail job or something like that.
When you die, what would you want your biggest legacy that you leave behind to be? So when people remember Phil, what would you want them to say about you?
That I was an impactful person, someone that is really genuine and wants to give back to this community or world.
Yeah. So let's say you write a book on your life and it's called Push Hard in Life, right?
Yeah.
What's the title of the current chapter of your life of where you're at right now to summarize where you're at?
The Obstacle.
The Obstacle.
Yeah. And what I mean by that is just the obstacle of, I guess, continue to keep that fire going because you do burn out.
Yeah.
And I think that's one obstacle that I'm going through right now is just after this whole year of so much work, it's just like, oh, shoot. Mentally, you're drained. And so it's just like that push now.
Yeah.
You need to get over that hump.
For like sustainability.
Yeah. Sure.
All right, so you survived rapid fire, and now it's guest corner. So this is your chance to plug anything you want, shout out anyone, and maybe say a last kind of word of encouragement to our listeners and viewers. So the mic is yours, sir.
One person I want to shout out is Keon. Thanks for putting me on Real Community Talks. Thanks for that. And now I'm here on Real Community Talks. My homies, Thomas, Miran, Marcel, Andrew, and Kareem, homies for life. I can go to them to talk about anything. My mom. My clients, I appreciate all my clients that I train. I really learn a lot from everyone, and being able to impact their lives as much as they do with me is a great feeling of appreciation. What else? family for sure, and just my passion for Toronto. I think that's what makes me who I am, and that's where my mentality comes from, and the growth I've been through is all because of being a Torontonian and seeing everything from, you know, Regent Park to Jane and Finch to Cornell to Marlborough. I've seen a lot. So everything, I think environment plays a huge factor of who I became. Yeah.
All right, so we're going to drop everything that Phil has going on, whether you want to go train with him or if you want to buy stuff from Patriarch. The link's going to be in the description. But before we conclude, I like to give my guests a word of encouragement. Not that you're here just to hear all good stuff about you, but sometimes you guys are such hard workers that you don't take the time to hear it. Like for me, a lot of people say like, oh, great show, but it's like you're so busy, you don't have the time to reply to every DM or whatever. But something I want to start with is, and throughout the whole show is, as I've noticed, is I feel like your authenticity is going to be the key to your continued elevation and sustainability. Because when your motivation is outside of just building yourself up and getting your paper and all that kind of stuff, and it's about people and it's about growing your community, I think that's the, like, you need oil or oxygen to keep a fire going. That's your oil and oxygen to your fire. Like if your fire is growing your gym, building your gym, it's going to be on the back of your ability to serve people. And I feel like you've laid the template for that already. So even though you don't have an existing structure or a building, you're building the template for that through that.
It's just like planting a seed and watch it grow. Or,
so true.
You know, having a baby and see it grow from, you know, laying on his back to crawling to walking. So it's all this, I guess, it's enjoying that process, because you can visualize everything. It's at the end of the day, right? It's like it's at the end of the you know, your path. And I think it's, with me, is like the concept of life is simple, but it's not easy. And I'll go in depth with that. Is like, what's the main social concept? It's, you know, to go to school, get a good education, to get a job, find someone, get married. Boom. That's, you know, everyone's, you know, that's
typical path,
a typical path or concept that people strive for. I think whatever that concept is in life, you just need to think about it and just understand it's not going to take a day or two. And I guess my concept is much different than an ordinary person in society that does that, you know? And, and that's that risk I'm willing to take to create my own journey, story. And hopefully people can see that and become inspired or motivated, or just see that, you know, this is what I want to really do and become genuine with it.
For sure. The second thing I want to say is that I think for someone like you who's a young adult running two businesses simultaneously is something I really respect about your ability to even mesh the two and build off of both of them. It's a skill set that I don't think a lot of young people have, so I rate you for that.
Appreciate it. Thank you a lot.
Next, I think your ability to take risks and have faith in your vision, like when you dropped out, that takes courage. Like that is stigmatized and people look down on you. Like even me, I quit my full-time job recently and everyone's like, but you just graduated from your master's, you're not going to apply? And I'm like, nah, I know where I need to be right now. So I think I really respect that, because it takes courage, because sometimes you can be ostracized for doing something like that.
For sure. And I guess also living in dogma, someone's expectations of you as well. I think that really shuts down or shuns people's beliefs in themselves. Yo, I expect you to do this. I don't expect you to do your own thing. I expect you to go to school and finish it and get a good job. You know, and that's living other people's expectations of you. And you shouldn't do that, because I think when you have expectations on people, you get upset and you feel like you've been cheated on or given up on because they didn't meet your expectations. And I think growing up and learning was with businesses or opportunities with friends, families, or even like relationships that don't have any expectations, because that will drive you insane, I think. There's
another side to that. I heard a quote the other day that said, the biggest relationship killer is uncommunicated expectations. So you're expecting something out of someone, but you've never had a conversation about it. Like, it's not to say like, I need you to be this person, but it's like, this is what I value. This is how I experience, you know, reciprocal love, or, you know, whatever. But lastly, I feel like your whole purpose behind, you know, Patriarch and even giving back to people, I think that's so commendable. And even the fact that you want to build local business and local you know, product is something that I don't see rarely in a lot of business owners. So like I said, I know I'm kind of repeating myself again, but the fact that you're doing stuff beyond you is powerful, because when you make money and you have all these things and it's just material, that dies down. What's going to keep you going is heart and passion and purpose.
Yeah, and your impact to people's lives.
Yeah.
I think that's key. Like, let's just think about it. Like, obviously, we're never gonna, maybe never live in this world, but just take away currency and money. What do you have to offer people?
Wow.
And it's
Big
just
facts.
like, just think about it. Like, okay, no money. Are you still gonna be greedy with certain things? Are you gonna, okay, there's no money. Do you help someone out?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's where I'm so content with myself, is like, just forget about the money. Just see how, if you can impact someone's life.
Yeah, it's true. Like, it's so true what you said. Without the money and then without the title and without the job, who are you?
What's your purpose?
Yeah, what's your purpose? Yeah. All right, Phil. So I really want to just thank you for being on the show today,
Thank you, man.
for blessing us with your presence and just being dope, man. We need more people like you in the world. So.
No, thanks for this opportunity, man. I've always wanted to, voice my opinion or even story for people to connect with or relate to. And I think that's what we do in this world, is we should learn from other people through experiences and everything like that. Because, that is very impactful. And me watching your shows or TED Talks or Gary Vee or, Tom Below and stuff like that, that really inspires me to, seek your purpose and continue to believe in what you're doing. And seeing you do all this is just like, damn, this guy really commits his time into what he believes in.
Thank you, man.
And it's a slow growth, but you feel appreciated and you feel joyful about it. So,
Well, I'm even honored to even be in that same list of, you said Gary Vee and all this kind of stuff. So I'm privileged. So, but yeah, thank you for coming on the show today. And don't be waste. Go get your gear. Link in the description. We're signing out.